What if you create a great Java game that you want to play more often? Will you always have to start up Eclipse to run your program? Not if you export the program out of Eclipse. Once exported, simply double-click the exported file anytime you want to run the program. Because you wrote the program in Java, the exported program can be run on any Windows, Mac, or Linux computer. This makes it easy to share your programs with family and friends. Hi, I'm Annette Gotland. I'm the author of the Do-It-Yourself Java Games books. I teach Java programming through creating games. Welcome to the video version of my books. We're currently in the Text Games video series, TG, the first of 4 types of games series. The focus of this series is to cover the fundamentals of Java programming. This series has 16 projects. We're currently working on the second project, TG2, ASCII Art. This is lesson TG2.2, where you'll learn to export Java programs and run them outside of Eclipse. Programs with a type of window like the DIY window as their superclass are very easy to run outside of Eclipse. However, in lesson TG1.2, I suggested that if you prefer to only use core Java to write my games, you should use Java's system out print line statements to print to the console instead of DIY Windows print statements to print to a window. But I also explained that running such programs outside of Eclipse is more complicated. In this lesson, I'll show you how to run both types of programs outside of Eclipse by exporting 2 versions of the ASCII Art project. First, we'll export our ASCII Art program as it was completed in lesson TG2.1. This version of the program prints to the DIY window. Right-click on ASCII Art, choose Export, click the arrow to see the options for Java, create a runnable jar file, choose the launch configuration for that project, which is ASCII Art. For export destination, we'll name the jar file that we want to create. And that's ASCII Art, ASCII-ART .jar. Want to package required libraries into the generated jar. Just select that option and click Finish. You'll now see a new file in your Eclipse workspace folder called ASCII Art jar. If you just double click that, it should run the program. If double-clicking the jar file did nothing, there may be an issue with your Java setup. See the Key Points and More section of this video for instructions on how to resolve this issue. In exercise 1, we'll see what happens if your program prints to the console instead of to the DIY window. First, remove the DIY window import statement. Next, change the class definition to not extend DIY window. Finally, change the print statements to print to the console instead of the DIY window. Hint: system.out.println will print to the console. Run it. What happened? It should have printed to the console. Now, export the program and give the export destination a name of ASCII Art console.jar. Hint: export the project as a runnable jar file. Use the ASCII Art launch configuration. Use the new name for the destination jar file, and package the required libraries in the jar file. Double-click the generated jar file. What happened? It will appear that the program did nothing. Actually, it did run and printed the output to the console. However, when you run a Java file by double-clicking the jar file, you do not automatically see the Java console. Instead, you should run such windowless programs from a console. We'll use the Windows Command Prompt console. In the search bar, type Command Prompt. And select it. You can now type commands in the Windows
command prompt console. First, we're going to change directory to where we exported the jar file. So we're going to change directory as cd space and give the full path name. So it's c:// users /jm / Eclipse workspace. Next, type in a Java command which will run the jar file. Type in Java space -jar to tell it to use the jar parameter, and the name of the jar file is ASCII art console.jar. And there it printed the output to the console.
If you want to share any of your programs with family or friends, just give them the exported jar file. The jar file runs equally well on Windows, Mac, and Linux. The only requirement is that the computer has a Java runtime environment installed. I recommend that your friends installed Oracle JDK, which includes a Java runtime environment. Oracle JDK is free for personal use and is easy to install. Refer to my setup video if you need a reminder on how to download and install Oracle JDK. However, keep in mind that the jar file is an executable, runnable file. Do not send anyone a jar file through email. Most mail servers will block emails with executable files as attachments. Executable file types that may get blocked include Java jar files, Window executable exe files, Visual Basic script files, JavaScript files, and compressed archive zip files. Such blocks could potentially result in the mail server blacklisting your email address. If you are unable to give copies of your programs to your friends on a physical flash drive, you could do so through a secure online repository such as Google Drive, OneDrive, or Dropbox. Trying to run a program that was downloaded from an online source may trigger a pop-up warning from Windows Defender suggesting that the file may be unsafe. Defender will ask the user if he trusts the site he downloaded it from. In such a case, Windows Defender is not claiming that the file is unsafe, but it doesn't know enough about the file. It only knows that the file is an executable file, which is the type of file hackers use to distribute malicious software. You may need to reassure your friend that since you created the file yourself, you know you didn't add any malware, and that you got the file to them securely. They may respond to that warning by selecting the option to run your program anyway. There are other techniques more complicated and more costly to remove those kinds of issues and warnings. For more information about other techniques, refer to my book, Create Market-Ready Java Programs, Easy Installer, Trial Version, Secure Online Sales, and more, available on Amazon. Key points and more. Export a program. Export the program as a jar file if you want to run the program outside of Eclipse or run it on a different computer. Right-click on the Java project and export the project as a runnable jar file. Select the launch configuration that was created for your program. Enter a jar file name for the version you are exporting. Package the required libraries into the jar file and export the file. You can save different versions of your program in different jar files. For example, you might want different jar files for different ASCII art images. Use all the same export options, but use a different export destination file name for each version of the program. If you would like to share your program, share a copy of the jar file. The exported jar file should run fine on any Windows, Mac, or Linux computer with the Java Runtime Environment, JRE, installed. The Java Runtime Environment was included in the Java Development Kit you installed. Therefore, a JRE is already installed on your computer too. Anyone may download and install Oracle JDK for free from the Oracle website. Share the jar file on a flash drive or in a secure repository such as Google Drive, OneDrive, or Dropbox instead of sending it through email. Sending a jar file as an email attachment may result in the mail server blocking that email and potentially even blacklisting your email address. Key points and more. Run the program outside of Eclipse. If the program uses a type of window, like DIY window, as its superclass, simply double-click on the jar file. If the program does not extend a type of window, you'll need to provide a console, like the Windows command prompt, to display the output. Open the Windows command prompt by searching for it on the taskbar. In the Windows command prompt, use the Change Directory command, CD, to change the directory to the location of the jar file. For example, mine was in my Eclipse workspace. So I would change the directory to my Eclipse workspace like this. Next, enter the Java command, Java, with a jar parameter, -jar, to run the jar file like this. If double-clicking the jar file for a program that uses a type of window for its superclass does nothing, you may have to fix the file type association. Right-click on the jar file and choose Open With. Choose Java TM Platform SE Binary if you installed Oracle JDK. Choose Open JDK Platform Binary if you installed OpenJDK. If that doesn't work, try the JarFix utility. Download the JarFix utility from this website. Here is the completed listing for the exercise in this video. This is the end of the last lesson in the ASCII art project. You now know how to create interesting drawings using the characters on your keyboard, and how to export programs to run outside of Eclipse and to share with friends. In the next project, we'll start the name game program, which will print different messages for different names.